How the heck are everybody? I am Fastidious and welcome back to Should You Summon? This is a weekly video I release every Thursday evening, the night before that weekend's banner, in which I answer the question, should you summon? Breaking it down for all player types and of course all spending types. So first off, we've got free to play, then low spender, then medium spender, Dolphin, and finally whale. As you can see behind me, this week I am outlining those spending brackets in text behind me. These numbers are based off of what you as a community told me you thought the spending bracket should be. If you would like to see any changes made, if there's something you don't agree with, just let me know in the comments. I would be happy to do it. And of course, Krakens, you will not be included because you don't need my advice. If you're spending over $1,000 a month, thank you so much for supporting the game and absolutely power to you. Moving on, what is on our plate this week? Well, we have two kinds of banners. We have our crazy banners, aka 2x on legendaries. So we've got those for both rare summoning crystals and for legendary summoning crystals. And of course, ancient summoning is arriving this week. Special ancient summoning with a very interesting 10x on two powerful Lord heroes. The question still remains, folks, should you summon? Let's find out.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
We are going to have to continue our discussion of this weekend's summoning festivities on the test server, and that's going to be because, in case you missed it in game news, we're getting two brand new heroes, Ardea and Eldrr. And let me tell you, they've made it completely unclear how these two heroes will be made available to us, but I can certainly hypothesize. So with Eldrr, I'm pretty darn sure I know what's going to happen. I believe this is going to be a top 3 global leaderboard prize, just like we have with Soul Cadens, and then several weeks before that, like we had with King Hearts. With Ardea, this is quite unclear. Could she be a top 50 reward on global leaderboards, just like the Zealatu skin, or more likely, is this just an announcement that she's getting added to the hero pool? We'll have to see. For now, let's head to the test server. Welcome one and all to the Fastidious test server. This is the test server. Let me break down the agenda and we'll get right into it. So first off, we are going to go over our featured 10x heroes, Laya and Ghan. Next, we are going to do our breakdown answering that question, should you summon, going spending class by spending class. As we get towards the end there, towards the bigger spenders, that is when I will give a little preview of Ardea and Eldrr. For now, it seems they will only be available to big spenders. And finally, we will wrap this thing up with me answering the question, will I summon? And let me tell you, the answer may surprise you. All right, let's get into it. Alrighty folks, Laya. So Laya's pretty unique as a legendary lord in this game, I guess for two main reasons. First off, she's the lord of definitively the worst faction in the game, and that's going to be the Watchguard, also known as the Watchers. Second, she's actually a really good hero outside of being a lord. That is not always the case with lords, even legendary lords in this game, so that makes her an interesting proposition to summon for. Let's go oh so quickly through her kit, and then just give our little thoughts. Every 3 basic attacks increases the next basic attack's healing by 50%. She is a healer, but she brings a lot of support and utility. Here you go, attack-based healing to 3 allies, so a multi-target healing. Restores 10% rage for all allies in range immediately. This is on her Divine Grace manual ultimate. Afterwards, restores 1% rage for them every 2 seconds, lasting for 10 seconds. So you can see you can skill this up to get more, but it's a nice rage boost, pretty cool. Her passives right here, this is what's going to make her the coolest. Celestial Ascendance, when the ultimate is triggered, applies a damage increase to all allies in range and increases their damage by 5% every 5 seconds, stacking up to 1 time. The effect lasts until the ultimate is over. So this is what I'm saying. She's just a good hero outside of being a lord. This has nothing to do with Watcher heroes, right? With her own faction. This is just a nice big damage increase that's going to help you guys a lot. Then we go to the next passive, Ethereal Resurrection. When allies in range release their ultimates, they will restore HP equal to 150% of Laya's healing multiplier. So when any ally, again, not a faction ally, triggers their ultimate, they're going to get a nice heal based off of her multiplier. Pretty cool stuff. This goes up to 200%, kind of wild. If we look at her Lord skill, this is where she could be amazing, like cracked out good, and I'd actually be telling you to summon for her absolutely if there were better Watchers in this game. So the typical thing with any legendary lord, you'll see the same thing on Ghan, increases faction allies basic attributes by 50%. That is standard. Periodically increases damage and healing multipliers for 30% for 20 seconds. The more faction allies there are on the team, the more frequently it takes effect. That's the exact same as Ein. However, with all legendary lords, the last sentence is always the special thing. When any faction ally is healed, their damage will increase by 15% for 10 seconds. Fortunately, that does not stack. However, she's going to constantly be healing her faction allies, and she doesn't even have to be the one doing the healing. As long as there's some healing going on your faction allies, the other Watchers on your roster, they're getting basically 100% uptime, 15% boost. That won't be the case in all situations, but on a lot of stuff like Guild Boss or something, if you were to bring Watchers in there, she'd be awesome. So Why is she not that exciting? She's an awesome healer. She is just a healer. The support she brings is absolutely tremendous, particularly in the late game and end game, and she works outside of her Lord ability. However, at the end of the day, she's super, super rare. Legendary Lords in general are super, super rare. The only really good shot you're going to have at getting them is on like an Ancient 10x, and do you want to use it on someone where their lordship is not that cool? And I'll just break it down for you. We are on the test server, right? So who is she getting? Well, she's gonna get Allura, and that could make her cracked out, but we have no idea when Allura is coming, and then Constance is unbelievable. However, Constance is also a support-focused, utility-focused hero, not gonna be a damage-focused hero. I don't see any big damage coming to the Watchers. Look, no new epics are coming. Maybe there'll be something all brand new to Global, new to Forerunner, new to Test, but for now, I just don't see this being the 10x you're gonna go for over like a Twin Fiend 10x or even like a Torador 10x. Or, I mean, they're just introducing Eldrr now and they just introduced Soul Cadence. Maybe we're gonna eventually get a 10x on them. So for Laya, that is going to be a niche hero that could help you in a tremendous way, but as a Lord, it's gonna be a hard pass. Now, let's break down Ghan, and then we can give our thoughts on everything. So Ghan, probably the rarest hero in the game, right? He's a legendary lord, making him super duper rare, and he is the lord of the Ancients exclusive faction. Chaotic units, save for a couple exceptions, are only available during Ancient banners, and this legendary lord is only available when we have Ancient summoning. So let's get into it really quickly. Damage scales off of defense, already makes him super unique. Only him, Azor, and Ardea, the new Nightmare Defender, have this ability. Increases defense by 2% for 15 seconds each time taking damage, capping at 30%. He's a big tanky defender. He blocks tons of people, as you're going to see. So obviously you'll get this max out at an additional 30%. Basic attack attacks up to 3 enemies, so a multi-target, dealing 70% damage to each enemy. This goes up to what? A nice clean 90%. Let's go to the ultimate Battle Cry. Increases block by 3 and grants a nice reduction, not only to himself, but to all allies in range. So let's check that out. It is going to be a 30% physical damage and magic damage reduction. So he's super tanky, but he's making everyone around him a lot tankier as well. This effect is going to last for 10 seconds. You can get this increased as well, up to 50% on the damage reductions. What a wacky hero. Frantic Retribution, taking damage has a 15% chance to attack up to 15 enemies ahead. Wild. Dealing 300% AoE damage. He can do he's the best defense-based damage dealer in the game. Not saying too much, but pretty cool. Triggers when HP drops below 30%. This is his insensibility passive. If the hero takes damage below 25% max HP, the damage will be reduced to 10. This effect lasts for 10 seconds. Cooldown is 90 seconds. So he can trigger this passive. And what says the damage is reduced to 10, that's not like 10% of what it would be. That's like 10 points. So the number you see is 10. So basically he's effectively taking like no damage when he does take damage that drops him below 25%. Finally, his little special chaotic passive, arena cost reduce. Chuck it down by 5. Let's just check his base cost is 19, so he only costs 14 as a legendary lord in the arena. And then finally, Power of Chaos. This is his lord skill. Increases faction allies basic attributes by 15, the total typical thing for a legendary lord. Increases faction allies damage based on their lost HP up to 60% at 30% HP. So as you get lower and lower with your chaotic faction allies towards 30% HP, the damage goes up, maxing at 60% at 30% or lower. Exact same thing like Vladov has. As always, the last sentence is what makes the Legendary Lord special. Faction allies gain a 20% attack and defense bonus when their HP is below 30%. This works really well with Chaotic. They're all constantly about to die. That is part of the chaos. Ghan is a ridiculously good champion. Ridiculously cool. We'll get more into it as I do my spender by spender breakdown. I will say, if you love him, if you love this kit, if you love this design, this is going to be the best chance you ever have to get him. That being said, if you're anything but some big spender, if you're someone like me, I have like 15 ancient summoning crystals to use, right? So it's still gonna be a total shot in the dark. Should you do this, or should you keep stacking up for a different banner, a different 10x? Let's break that all down now. Right off the bat, guys, let me tell you, this is going to be the most straightforward skip weekend when it comes to summoning since I started playing the game over 100 days ago. Free to play. I think this is a no-brainer. Definitely skip it. You may be thinking, oh, but we have these 2 events in the Pyros Fusion event. We have both a Spiritual Altar and an Arrival of Heroes at the same time. Wouldn't it be free to play and strategic to synergize and do this at the same time, double up on points? kind of, but unless you're going for 2 copies, which you really won't be as a free-to-play, it's going to be next to impossible. It's just a skip. You're not going to be able to get big points on the Spiritual Altar anyway. And then when it comes to the actual banners, the 2x, guys, this is our 4th or 5th consecutive weekend with a crazy banner event. So meaning a 2x on legendaries. It's basically a lock that it's going to happen every weekend. So you can kind of just chuck that out the window. That will kind of be the case for every discussion we have. There's always a 2x. If you want to do the 2x, just do it. You don't need to hear that from me. There's nothing weekend specific about that, or at least for the past month plus, that has been the case. When it comes to this 10x on Laya, who we're going to replay the cinematic of right now, and also Ghan, are they amazing heroes? Of course, they're legendary lords, but you have very, 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 very few ancient summoning crystals that you get as a free-to-play player. Very few in general, unless you're spending big bucks. Do you want to spend it on this banner? If you're truly in love with Ghan and you just want to take a shot in the dark, I say go for it. But keep in mind, he's the lord of the pay-to-win faction, of the chaotic faction. So if you're trying to min-max, it's an obvious skip. And then Laya, as cool as she is as a hero in her own right, when it comes to her being a lord, she's an L, right? Maybe once Eldrr gets here, there's going to be some crazy thing that she can do. That's possible. But a lot of people have been crossing their fingers and holding out for Eldrr for literally not weeks, but months now. We have no idea when it's going to come. And the whole game and the whole world is going to explode when she finally arrives, right? But when it actually comes to Laya, it's just not going to happen. And when it comes to Ghan, he's super pay to win, not just for getting him, but then getting people to surround him with. So I think it's a hard skip for free to play. On to low spender, and just to refresh your memory, this is going to be up to $30. I think it's the exact same thing as free to play, because you're not buying, as a low spender, you're not buying ancient summoning crystals, right? So I don't think there's that much more to say. My thoughts are identical, really identical. And this one might surprise you. On to medium spender, up to $75. Run it back, baby. Skip it. It's the exact same thing. If you're spending it's a ton of money, but if you're spending 75 bucks a month, I don't see how you're fitting ancient summoning crystals into that. However, let's say you're the kind of player, this will be the exception, where you budget in, I'm going to spend 75 bucks a month and 30 bucks. So I'll spend 45 on stuff and monthly cards and Priv Pass and stuff like that. And then 30 bucks is going to be going to whatever the best ancient summoning crystal deal is. Then sure, why not use them? If you happen to be in love with one of these heroes. However, I'm going to tell you, if you're looking for pure efficiency and to min-max, the move is going to be, spoiler alert, this might be what I'm going to do, hold out. Eldr's probably going to come. Soul Cadence is going to come, right? Tordor is someone I'd be far more excited about. You want people that are the lords that are amazing and are the lords of super relevant, super important factions. And that is not going to be Laya, and that's not going to be Ghan. Again, the theme here is if you love Ghan, because he is so freaking cool, and if you just want like the rarest here in the game, take a couple stabs at it. Most of us are going to be incredibly unlucky on the ancient summonings anyway. But that all being said, I think it is a skip. Moving right along to our Dolphins. So I needed some category between medium spender and whale, because I think saying a whale is someone that spends less than 200 bucks. People were a little offended by that. I think last time I said it was like 125. So we brought it up to 200, but calling someone a medium spender if they're spending 75 to 200 bucks didn't work. So whatever sound dolphins make, it's dolphin time. This is when you can start thinking about it. If you're spending up to 200 bucks a month, 75 to 200, maybe you've got some ancient summoning crystals. Maybe you're going to buy some every time there's an ancient summoning event. Maybe you're going to buy 20 crystals. I don't know how much that costs, but I'm guessing that costs like 50 or 60 bucks. If you can fit that into your 75 to 200 a month budget, I say why not? I mean, maybe it's a cool opportunity. Ghan is pretty darn cool. I know I still would skip if I'm being honest. But that being said, I would not blame anyone who didn't go for it. So now we're finally getting into that bracket. However, and this will be a nice transition into Wales, I don't think you're going to be thinking about Eldrr. I'm almost 100% sure he will be a top 3 global leaderboard reward. There are only so many servers. There's only a couple global leaderboards. So something like 9 or 12 or 15 players in the entire game are going to get him. That's not going to be you if you're a Dolphin. No chance. When it comes to Ardea, I do think most likely the chance is that she is going to fit in just as a, hey, she's in the pool now, and then they'll do a 10x for her down the line. She's really, really cool. We might as well break her down right now as we get into our discussion of Wales. But I do not think that if she's not on a rate up, right, and I don't think she's going to reward, I don't think it makes sense. And even for a Dolphin, you're probably not the one winning summoning event rewards, right, in the rival of heroes. While we're on Ardea's pays, let's just talk about her. I'm not going to break down the kit skill by skill, but I will tell you she is very, very cool. Let's see if I can pull up that ult animation Will they show it to me? They won't. But she does like this long range thing. You can see here, it kind of looks like Valkyra. Mawbuck and I actually did test her a bit in a video we put out. She's kind of like a northerner chaotic version of Arrogance. She's incredibly cool. She doesn't hit aerial units, if I'm remembering right. No, she does not. So that's kind of what separates her from Arrogance, but the damage is wild and wacky. Let's show you that 7,976 attack. Almost certainly that's the highest base attack in the game. And you can see here up to 7 targets. So basically an AoE, a monstrous single line AoE. Then this ultimate enters a frenzy state. We're kind of thinking of the berserker state for Arrogance. She is quite similar to him, especially once you see her animations. Attack is increased by 30% and 15% of current HP is deducted per second. That's that chaotic ability. Throws 2 of her circular blades every time her talent effect is triggered. So she's kind of like got this boomerang circular thing going, the same way Arrogance has the boomerang with her arrow. I'm not going to break her down much further than that, but she's nasty. She'll be amazing in the arena, but she's not someone you're really going to be able to target. The only chance that would happen is if she was on some kind of top 50 on global leaderboard, get her the same way they got the Zeala 2 skin. Onto Eldrr, who, like I said, I'm very, very sure is going to be a top 3 global leaderboard prize. He's nasty. So he's kind of the damage dealing lord of the Northerners, because Northerners typically have been like our tanky healing faction for PvE content. If you look at King Hearts, our current legendary lord, you can see the last line, the defensive shielded faction allies is increased by 20. Well, with Eldrr, they just changed one thing in that sentence. Now the attack of shielded faction allies is increased by 20. And this is not damage, this is attack, this is post-deployment, so it's multiplicative, it is wacky. Like if you have Falsia, and you're a, we'll transition to whale now. If you're a whale or like borderline Kraken, you might have to be a Kraken to get him, because people are going to go nuts as they went for Soul Cadence to get top 3 to get him on global. So almost certainly you have to get over 100,000 points. So good frickin' luck. But he's amazing. And if you got Falsia, or if you're thinking you might get Ardea, or you're excited about some of these other ones that might come, so cool. I think Falsia and Ardea are going to be the big stars along with Eldrr. And like Soul Cadence and now Eldrr, he's not just a good lord, he's a great hero as well. So I'll just see when shielded, he deals extra damage. He's also benefiting from his lord skill. We'll click through really quickly. Nice big single target there, kind of typical. Increases attack and max HP by 30%, gains this Thunder Aegis, grants a shield equal to 10% per second, all the way up to 100% shield. So he's going to stay shielded, keep that damage up, keep the attack from the lord skill up. He does really cool things. This is probably my new most wanted hero, but you won't really hear me talking about it because he's so freaking rare. Basically, I has 15% chance to trigger Thunder Hammer. Unbelievable. Taking damage gains a shield, so more shielding, more damage, on and on. This guy absolutely whacks, and if you want to try running like a meta Northerner team, you will need him. Let me tell you something right now, though. Hasn't been announced formally yet, but the way it has worked on Forerunner, as these factions get additional legendary lords, right? So Soul Cadence was added to Infernal Blasts, right, on top of Twin Fiend. Now Eldrr is getting added on top of King Hearts. These additional ones are only available during Ancient Summoning. So about as rare as anything you're going to see, about as rare as Ghan, right? So if you're a super whale or probably borderline Kraken, I'd say go for it if you think you can get top 3, but pretty unlikely that will happen. And then just to back it up, to answer the question for whales, of course you're summoning, you're a whale. How could you not summon for Ghan? Even if you have a copy, if you're a whale, if you're spending $200 to $1,000 a month, I would totally put, if that's my price range, I would put $100 or $200 or $300 into Ancient Summoning Crystals and try to get a copy of Ghan. Absolutely. And Laya is incredibly meta right now for the endgame guild boss, right? She's hiding all the way up here. And that's not as a lord, or at least not currently. That is just her as a hero. That damage boost is incredible. It really helps. The rage regen puts her in the conversation with like Hollow and Elwyn to help you getting those crazy cyclings like you saw in my Pyros guide video. All in all, if you're a whale, I think it is a good time to summon. And I think basically if you're not a whale, take this weekend off. So the big question, Fastidious, not the big question, who actually really cares? But just to pull the curtain back, am I gonna summon? No. And now that it's on video, I'm gonna stick to it. I am taking this weekend off. I am. This is me also announcing that I've accepted I'm not gonna get a second Pyros copy. I'm just gonna go for the one. I'm gonna relax a bit. It is what it is. The way it's lining up with these two, unless I start podiuming left and right. But we have this summoning event. It sucks that it's coming, that we get the Spiritual Altar and the Arrival of Heroes at the same time. And I'm just gonna 100% take the weekend off. But like, I see no benefit. I only have either 14 or 15 Ancient Summoning Crystals. There's always a 10x, right? There always seems to be a 10x when Ancient comes. I'd rather hold out and see if Twin Fiend's gonna come or something. So for me, I'm not gonna summon, and then these 2Xs are about as boring as anything. So there's my answer. Guys, that is gonna be the conclusion of this week's episode. I'll just quickly, to further pull back the curtain, I haven't watched any other videos, but I've kept my eye out, and I noticed a lot of people are putting out these should you summon videos. Not that this was a novel idea. However, I will stick to what I'm doing every Thursday. I know other people like to rush it out. That is not gonna be my style. I wanna make sure I have all the information, and I wanna make sure I've given it proper consideration and get everyone excited getting everyone excited on the night before the actual weekend summoning festivities begin. Guys, have been fastidious. If you like this, if you like the series, like it, let me know in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't done that. That's always fun. Hit that little notification bell, share it with your mother, and I'll see you in the next one.
Fastidious.